Good evening, good evening, good evening. How is everybody doing? Welcome to another experience of the African Speaks. This week is Wisdom Week. This week I declared it Wisdom Week, the first week of August. Now, in my community, we celebrate Marcus Garvey all month long. And so it made it right for me to sit down and say, hey, and it's all month, but on Sunday. Every Sunday is a Marcus Garvey lesson. We have the Marcus Garvey gathering in the park, the Marcus Garvey Festival. So everything for us, August, is Marcus Garvey. And the download came for me to sit down and make this my first Wisdom Week, where every lesson in the week connects us to Marcus Garvey. Next year is going to be a whole lot different. The topics this year be different, but I also was told by an ancestral download to make Wisdom Week a quarterly experience. So you can expect some serious teaching straight up 5 times a week, a particular topic that we're going to make sure that we do not gatekeep, and we make sure that you get the information. So if anybody wants any other particular topic studied, researched, and broken down to the point where we understand it internally, not just here logically, but internally within our beings, let me know. But yes, we are always here and honoring the Honorable Marcus Mosiah Garvey. And for anyone who is in an organization, um, affiliated with an organization, working in an organization, building an organization, I would ask that to continue honoring the Honorable Marcus Mosiah Garvey, that you imagine the numbers. You imagine the relationship or the relationships. You imagine what it took for him to get to the place where he was the largest black organization on the planet, and strive for that. I think Garvey would want more than anything than not as just honoring, but actually building it and honoring, in that state. Create that next organization. I know World of Akibaland is attempting to do so. I know the Pan African Orthodox Christian Church is attempting to do so. I know the Nation of Islam is intending to do so. What organization are you a part of that has a programmatic process to liberate black people? Not just liberate, but also in that process transform black people. And in that space of me interacting and being in my community, hence the development of the African Speaks, hence the development of the World of Akibaland, and everything that I do in my community for the vision he gave for a sovereign black man, a divinely sovereign black man. And as he said, let us make man, one male, one female, understanding that we are we are manifestations of divine thought, period. Nothing less. We were the first human beings on the planet, and the Creator created this experience on Earth, perfectly mathematically designed for us. Perfectly mathematically designed for us. And so, as we continue in this space, we want you to move your thought processes from the understanding that Africa for the Africans, where we're not trying to send you overseas. We're not trying to get you to the continent. Go, please go, enjoy yourself, experience it. But that is not the destination. The destination is the understanding that this is an unseen spiritual warfare for cosmic consciousness. That Africa for the Africans, before the tectonic plates shifted, before the earth moved, it was, when we were on it, it was one land called Gondwana land. Y'all look it up, Google it. Gondwanaland was one state, was one piece of body of land, and it made it easier for people to travel. Why? Because all the land was connected. So wherever you plant your feet is holy ground. Wherever you stand is holy ground. Wherever we are is holy ground. So we ask that you honor in that fashion, in the fashion of where you commit your journey to the liberation of our people and the redemption to humanity. Most people don't even end with that. The liberation of our people and the redemption to all humanity. That is a divine responsibility. And that's why it takes a man returning to which created him, back to which created him. Man getting back to that experience, being spiritual beings on a spiritual journey, yet in a human form. Let us do that. And so, in that process, when we've talked about it the last couple of days, that you have to travel deep inside your own psyche, deep inside your own consciousness, to find the true identity of who you are. And in that space, that what was the reason why I created the power of the divine self. A lot of individuals were talking about, we were discussing, what does it mean to truly understand who you were called to be? Hence, I started working on the power of the divine self. And we went through the whole, I started from the beginning, explaining the source and the power of the source. And I want you to check that out. And so we are finishing up this particular series before we get back to the section where we're dealing with the coming of the Ubuntu generation. Right? Moving past Ubuntu as a philosophy and understanding it is the process of remembering, but also it is definitely connected to the power of the divine self. Because to get to the divine self, you have to escape the great separation. Now, in this journey of diving into the power of the divine self, we have walked you through the process of escaping the great separation, which is your mind to your true cosmic level of consciousness. And we went and started this week and talked about being voice activated. Now, of course, this series is a 32, 33 book chapter series. And so this one is chapter 28. So I urge you to go back, YouTube, they're all there. Take a look. If you have any questions, hit me up. I'm not hard to find. Never not hard to find. And I always look forward to interacting with those who are here. Wait. Miss Baker, I'm glad you found it as well. Peace and blessings to you, sister. One love. And so in this space, we talked about voice activated. And in voice activated, it dealt with the issue of being beyond the wombs. It dealt with the language of liberation. It talked about the language of liberation in a space where everything about you was your conversation. Everything about you is your conversation before a word is spoken. Think about that. You walk out the door, conversation. How you sit down and how you eat lunch, how you greet, even greeting, how you hold the door, how you look, how you feel, that vibration you give off, everything is a conversation. And when you reach that certain space of awareness, spiritual awareness, you know this. You know that you talk with more than just your voice. The essence of you speaks louder than your words. There was one thing that a lesson that I taught to kids where, it says, let your actions speak louder than your word. Let your word represent your action, meaning you don't even have to speak. All you do is have to be. You walk in a room and somebody can look at you. You know, I don't know that individual, so I don't know to trust him. You can walk in a room and know that people can connect to you. Excuse me, brother. Excuse me, sister. It's just how you carry yourself. Some people know who to walk up to and speak to. Being approachable, yeah? That means there's something not tweaked in your energy that says that I am so sociable. I'm here for you. Being voice activated, being connected to everything and all things and communicating before you say a word. That's power. And then Tuesday, we went into understanding what it means to have the birth of the seeker. Now, in our community, when you come, we say you're automatically a seeker. I say you're not a seeker till you understand that there is something, well, you are a seeker, but there is something that is greater than you that you seek to connect to. And then after you connect to it, you realize that this particular journey is endless. You're always a seeker. Once you become aware of the divine energy and you cannot let it go, when everything about you says, I need to understand more of who I am becoming, not the fact that, oh, I did great this day or this part of my life, I was wonderful. Every day you're waking up asking the universe to help me understand who I am to become. And that does not have an age. The only expiration date for that as a seeker is the day you transition back over into the spiritual realm. Is that Miss Evans? One love. Appreciate you. Appreciate you for joining. And so this is what a seeker does. This is what a seeker is. This is who we are. And we can't get away from this. But you got to get again and to that point where you separate yourself from the great separation. You move away from the great separation. And that is the consciousness of your divine self. And with this, we talked about going into the portals that is you. Each one of these phases, and I'm not going to say there's only 4 portals to get through, because you can go through multiple portals within your own levels of consciousness. And see, in African spirituality is not judged by leveling up. When people say, I got to level up, I got to level up. No. African spirituality and your true power and awareness is dealt with the depth of who you are. You level down. You level in depth. The greater you become, the deeper. Man, you sit down and back, wow, that's deep. Yes, because I've dived deeper into my consciousness to get into that space where you dwell in the collective consciousness of the universe. We said in these spaces, you are functioning from beyond your wombs, beyond your walls, beyond your bricks, beyond your fear, beyond your doubts, your failures, your rejections, beyond your survival mode. You function beyond that and you walk into that glow of enlightenment, purpose, love, freedom, truth, the pure state of your creation. You walk and you continue move through the corridors of the inner self to reach that higher state of you. And you continue doing this for a lifetime. There is nobody on this journey that stops doing this. If you do, that means you stagnated. And yes, do we have community leaders who have stagnated their own spiritual growth because of the level in which they sit on? Absolutely. So that understand it, if it can happen to them, it can happen to you too. And so you have to keep diving in, diving in, diving in. And when you open your eyes, you will see every time you come back into reality, you will see that afro glow. It'll be internal and it'll be something that you can no longer turn off or you will no longer allow the world to turn it off. The minute that you claim who you are and you can see yourself in the mirror and see your divine nature, mm, there's nothing that can stop you. There's nothing that will hinder you. There's nothing that can slow you down. Because you know that the journey that you're on is to experience more of the Most High with inside yourself so that you can, in turn, give more. And so from that point, we start with One Love Wilson. I see you. Thank you for coming in. From that point, and tonight we talk about ordered steps, moving with divine intelligence, moving with divine intelligence. And in that space, you align, you remember, you move. You realize that the body is a living temple. Your spirit lives within that temple. Your mind is an instrument to harness the wisdom that comes through you spiritually. You connect to yourself emotionally. That mind and heart coherence is one sync, and that soul connects. And so, in this space, when you're talking about moving with divine intelligence, what really is alignment? Alignment, and let's get this unaligned, because in this state, you're doing two things. You have, or you could get to fight against two things. Unaligned consciousness expresses your gifts, your talents, your attributes, your character for the sake of self. Just because you find a sense of awareness doesn't mean, oh, all of a sudden I find my purpose. No, you have some people living in a purpose, but you're not aligned. You're not divinely aligned. So your purpose only feeds you. But divine alignment is when your gifts, talents, and attributes are directed to serve others. When we are in a state of oppression, and most people, I'm not oppressed. We don't own the government that we're in. The government that is connected to us is not divinely inspired. How can you be the first beings on the earth functioning from unaligned consciousness and building nothing? True alignment builds to restore your people and turn humanity back in the way it should go. And so as we come into this space, we realize that our time here, we were never ever meant to walk alone. We never were meant to be islands unto ourselves. And then that path we are supposed to work, it is not a path that has been hidden. The path has never been hidden. The kingdom has never been absent. Divine intelligence has never stopped speaking to you. When you're in this place, when you're looking for alignment, that voice that guides. That transformation begins when consciousness remembers how to receive what has always been present. This is the process of remembering and knowing who you are, who you were designed to be, what you were called to produce and give. It is the journey to interact with the kingdom of God within. This is what alignment is. It's a different experience than what we've been told. Waiting for something to work with us? Oh no. We're not waiting. Why? Because the universe is always in communication. The universe is always talking. The universe is always reaching out to try to give direction. What is separate from the universe is our awareness of it. We have been raised in a society that does not keep us connected. You ever seen infants communicate with the universe and you wonder who they're talking to or what they're experiencing? The universe is always talking. There are no blocks in an infant. And so you have to take time to slow down and hear what it's saying. Now, a lot of times we were told that we have to follow God. I'm seeking God to follow God. That makes the experience of alignment external. That's not alignment. True alignment is when you align yourself with divine consciousness and that divine consciousness guides you from an internal experience. It's an internal antenna, not reaching out saying, oh, help me. It's reaching in saying, oh, let me listen. The process of alignment is not asking, it's being quiet and finally listening. How well are you when it comes to functioning in a chaotic world, but manifesting your own silence? Because the universe is always talking. It doesn't matter where you are, what you do. The universe is always in communication with you. And so when you're dealing with the issue of having your steps ordered, it's not the fact that your steps are predestined to be moved. No. When you're saying order my steps, ordered steps are the natural movement of consciousness responding to divine intelligence already present within. It is the kingdom of God that lives in you. Let us make man. This is what Garvey was asking and saying, giving us that imperative directive. Let us make man. We have to make man in the image of God, one male and one female. What? To be sovereign beings. That is an internal alignment. He didn't know the psychological damage of the African genotype behind the slave trade, the mark of slavery. He couldn't fathom it. Not until, again, we spoke about that the other day, where we started studying in the mid 50s and late 60s, where black psychologists were coming around understanding what has been done to our psyche, to our spiritual awareness. So we got to get back to that experience where we are looking inside ourselves. So this is spirituality and religion, but the wrong version of religion have you looking outside yourself. Any spiritual discipline that you are connected to, and you hear me, any spiritual discipline that you're connected to should always point you inward. Inward, because that's where the presence and power of the Most High lies, which is important. And so we're in that space. You can ask yourself a question. Why do I have to choose? We're the only thing in this world that has free will. The creation language of the divine intelligence, everything is in it. There's nothing outside of its own wisdom. Nothing. You cannot find anything outside of the human experience that can choose to be something other than what it was called. And so you always see alignment in everything that you look at. The structure of the cosmos, to the solar system, to the structure of the planets to the planet itself to nature, everything is in divine wisdom. It sits. And you start realizing that, and you realize I walk in that same experience as life. And there was something done that offset that. But in this space, if you keep going back in and you keep going back inside yourself, you come out. Every time you open your eyes, you're going to realize that relationship you have where we move, we live, we move, we have our total being in divine intelligence. There is nothing that separates us but our own thinking. As you continue diving in, searching for the divine self and finding those images in you. And we did this and so I have a lot of new people who are watching. And I want to see if I can share this with you real quick. We talked about one in chapter 22, the pathway to the internal you, the process that it takes. I walked us through it, the process that it takes to go down inside your own spiritual state of self. And every time you come back out, you realize, wait a minute, I'm understanding more and more that we live, move, and have our total being in divine intelligence. There is no separation from me and that which created me, except what was done to my mind. But again, going back into this level, this is chapter 31, where we've done that, or you're continuing to do that on that other side. That I realize that every day that I open my eyes, I wake up, I am in the experience of the Most High. The world does not control me. I control what happens with me in the world. And we said you can tell with the levels of consciousness, understanding that. And let me put this up here real quick, because it goes back to the early chapters. When you get to the height of becoming and experiencing your most powerful self, you get to the chapters before, because I walked you through it. I said, because you're going to experience these things when you start diving into yourself. Well, let me tell you what you're about to encounter before you get there. And so one of the things that we did, let me see if I can drop it small. If y'all can see it on the smaller end, where we talked about the 10 levels of consciousness. And saying that we live, move, and have our total being in the Most High, divine intelligence, in the source, saying that is a big difference than realizing it internally. And the way you can tell where you are with that true experience of being aligned is understanding what level of consciousness you exist in. Are you 100% where you sit down and say, my physical reality controls my consciousness, and I have 0% in spiritual awareness? Or 90% of reality controls my consciousness, and only 10% of my spiritual awareness? Or is it 80% of my reality controls my consciousness, and you have 20%, and that continues to go? Is it 70% of reality controls my consciousness, and 30% is based in my connection to my spiritual state of self? And it keeps going. And you can tell when you look at this particular chapter, chapter 12, when you come here, you know that you're beyond the level of 5, level of 6, 7. You walk in water, doing amazing things that people said that we couldn't do as a people. Not you as an individual, but we as a people. We say that there is nothing more sacred than the liberation of black people, and nobody free until everybody free. And that's where you are. And so that has to draw you. When you understand that, it draws you into the great remembrance. We talked about the great separation. In that great remembrance, the kingdom is not trying to enter you. When it hits you, you realize your consciousness is learning how to enter the kingdom already within you. Your consciousness is learning to enter the kingdom that is already within you. Let us make man. This is what Garvey was working with. This is the great remembrance. You are not acquiring divine intelligence, divine wisdom, divine alignment. You're awakening to it. You get up and you realize, wait a minute. The great remembrance is realizing that everything is a manifestation of the creator and it's all around me. Everything is energy and energy is everything, and I connect to that energy. I'm born of it. I am born of it. And so when you start aligning yourselves, you realize that nature will communicate to you. You can see what creatures gravitate to you. Oh, I'm scared of spiders. Why they keep coming around you? It is the vibration of frequency that you're on. If there's something that comes around you that you don't like and you screaming and you going crazy, look up what the spiritual meaning of that particular insect is. If birds are flying around you, look at what that bird is. If you're drawn to watching lions, wolves, rhinos, look at what they mean. It always communicates to you according to your vibration. Then you realize not only is nature speaking, but them downloads, your ancestors are speaking. You're connected to a deep level of intelligence. Your people who you are connected to have that legacy that your family is supposed to represent, that bloodline, what that bloodline is supposed to represent. They're always speaking to you. They're always speaking to you. You get ideas and don't understand why you got them. You don't understand where they came from. And because you don't understand where they came from, you don't respond. But in this state, no, that great remembrance, you can't stop responding. You can't stop building. You can't stop creating. You can't stop moving. You can't stop communicating. Because you remember one thing. You and the Most High are one. You remember that relationship where the seeker in you disappears. You don't disappear, you deepen. What disappears are those walls that keep you from seeing the Most High. And you realize that your consciousness has no end. Let us make man. It expands into the true source from go into and we saw the thing where your consciousness, mind, down into the infinite level of collective consciousness, where the pool of wisdom is infinite. The noise is silent. The soul remembers. The divine intelligence becomes the nature of who you are. It surrounds you. It releases you. It returns. It remembers. You become. You become the direct expression of divine thought. Everything that pours out of you. Everything that pours out of you. Why? Because in that state, you realize that The language of divine intelligence speaks in tongues. I always, please forgive me. Don't get mad when I make those jokes. Because it's going to speak in multiple stages and ways for you to understand it. That spiritual tongue is not Latin. It is just the way the universe communicates to you from that inner knowing, that vibration inside of you that you can't shake. It's like that gut feeling. And sometimes without being so deep, we get these notions that something comes and leads us and guides us a particular way, and we listen and we move. But at that moment, that is the divine intelligence, that is your ancestors trying to reach out to you. So when that happens, continue, go back in. Say thank you. Don't think it's you. Don't think it's you. Take it as something is guiding me. At that moment, I've aligned with divine intelligence and I moved according to what that gut feeling told me to do, that inner knowing. And then you have divine timing where things just happen. You walk through the right door at the right time, met the right person, said the right words. Everything comes, they say everything comes in divine timing. Yeah, but some things that you also, divine guidance will also speak in synchronicities. You walk in and have you ever been with somebody, dated somebody, interacted with somebody, and they didn't live with you, and you go to an event, and when you ring the doorbell to pick them up or you meet them there, y'all got on the same color? That's vibrating frequencies, uniting and connecting frequencies. Beautiful thing. It will speak to you in your discernment when you sit down and you got to make a choice. You're no longer making choices out of survival. You're making choices out of alignment and connection to divine wisdom. You're making choices out of purpose and promise. It's a difference. It will speak to you in a state of peace, in a state of silence. That's why a lot of people I got to go back to the water. But do you get to the water and you flock around like with noise, or do you just sit down? And there's having a water ritual at the ocean is one of the most powerful rituals that you could ever go through. Water is the source of a, a conductor to have spiritual interactions. Man, put your hands in that water, put your feet in that water, and speak to the universe. Speak to the Most High. You will find yourself in a deep experience of peace where it comes back. Meaningful relationships. When you connect to somebody where two or more gather, there shall I be. Meaningful relationships. Relationships where you know that this person is seeking the creator. Even in their mistakes, they're still seeking the creator. Everybody's not perfect. Those relationships, when you interact and you find yourself in alignment, can sit down and get you to that point where you are connecting to the source. Closed doors that redirect. Something is happening and a door closes and you like, oh, and that was the phrase. As one door closes, another one opens. Why? Because you're in divine alignment. Doors, and then you see the next one. Doors, open doors that invite you in. Come on in. I've had so many of those situations and experiences that says, come on in. And there's one door I'm waiting to open, and it's in due time. Silence. People can speak to the Most High. You can be loud in your language. But what happens when your language is nothing but pure silence? Where you can hear the Most High speak to you, guide you, move you. And sometimes it's not in words, it's in that feeling. I'm going to get up and go for a run today. And then you bump into something that will solve a problem that you didn't even know why you was running. But you can go into that silence and get that. Find that peace. You can heal your own body in that silence. You go deep enough inside yourself. It's your talents, your gifts, your traits inside yourself. Then you have nature. You can find that divine guidance, the language of divine guidance in nature. That's why you take walks. Why? Because nature does not know how to not vadoom, not be in line with divine power. Nature does not know how to disconnect. This is why when you get there, you feel a certain way because you feel the energy where the nature strives to always connect. It can't do nothing but connect. So you connecting to that is altering your state. Nature alters your states of consciousness so that you can vibrate on the same frequency it does. And you can experience divine guidance. And then you have life itself. When you're open to life versus being closed to it, right? You have that what? Closed mindset and a growth mindset. The kids know that. When we talk about that, they'll raise their hand and discuss that and can explain that. What mindset do you enjoy life with? Is it open or is it closed? Being protected is different than being closed. But in this space, this journey, after a while, when you get to this point, man, divine language is always trying to guide you in multiple ways, in many different languages. It comes in many different ways. Everything becomes communication when the consciousness becomes receptive. And so, even when you're trying to share divine guidance, you have to figure out what consciousness, and we did this yesterday, what conscious level does this person that I'm talking to exist on so that I may communicate to them so that I can elevate who they are? Let us make man. Hmm. The awakened consciousness asks, how do I become more aligned with the divine intelligence already within me? That's your everyday question. That's your everyday journey. You know when you are aligned, when this is what becomes the experience that you seek. How do I become more aligned with divine intelligence already within me? And then it's not a struggle, it's not a fight, it's just a simple flow. It's a simple flow. It's like a river that's just, and anything in that river is still going to flow over it, under it. It's not fighting until it gets to the ocean. This is what your journey is, flowing with what you have. Continue going inside yourself to increase who you are. So you, like a river, flow to the ocean, which is the experience of infinite possibilities. But that experience can only happen if you go inward. Let us make man, one male and one female. So when you imagine the river never struggles to reach the ocean. It moves according to its nature. Human consciousness is no different. When disconnected from its original nature, yeah, it wanders. But when reunited with divine intelligence, movements becomes harmonious. Ordered steps are not forced. You're just remembering where to go. You're remembering how to be. You're remembering every day I'm here to become my highest self, my best self, as we say it, in my community. This is what it is. And so, be a natural flow. There's no fight, there's no struggle. It's to be a natural flow. This is what we're seeking. Becoming a natural flow that goes direct when you need deeper experiences in the Creator. It's there. You take the time, you cut the lights off, you play the music, you sit in silence, you practice deep breathing, meditate, become, and then just go. Exist in the world as though you know whatever answers you need are already being sent to you. Go. Let us make man. Every day, you're asking the questions, what is the divine intelligence revealing that I have not noticed yet? We're talking about divine alignment, ordered steps, moving as the expression of the Most High. You're going to get that. Walk through each day, expecting life to communicate. Live a life of expectancy, expecting everything to talk to you. Even you're driving to work and you in traffic, somebody pulls up and something happens and you yell. That was the moment you argue with that person. This is really what happened to me in that journey. And I'm arguing with the person, and that man, we were calling each other some names, and that we pull off. And I realized that 1 second can have the power to mess up my day if I choose to. One, and I chose not to. Two, I should have never given it the power for me to argue. Three, I said, life, you gave me an opportunity for me to see who I wasn't. Thank you. Now, catch me off guard again. Let me flow like nature through life and see if I respond like that a second time, because I won't. Walk through life expecting life to communicate. What songs pop up on your phone, what people say hello or call you. See it. Or maybe nobody calls you and you sit in silence. The Creator will say, I'm waiting for you. Why ain't nobody answering? Why ain't nobody here? I had to do this by myself, because the Creator and your ancestors wanted you to focus on strengthening your relationships in the spiritual. So you don't take it out on people physically. Why? Because God needed you to deal with God. And so you do that in terms of expecting life, not expecting life to communicate, not because something new is to be spoken. No, because you're teaching your consciousness to listen. Something new. They're going to tell me. There's nothing new that you don't already know yet. It's in you. It's in your DNA. It's in your blood. It's in your memory. It's in your spiritual connection to the Most High. Everything speaks. Shh. Just listen. Just listen. Pay attention. Now, at one point in this journey, we talked about chakras. We talked about the energy system. We talk about your crown chakra being the crown chakra being the one that transmits and receive. And the only way to get that open to its fullest extent is you got to maximize the heart chakra. That heart chakra has to be so open, so wide versed, that your voice activates, your third eye activates, then your crown activates. Your heart is the level of love that you're capable of. Your voice is you speaking truth. And we said your voice is not just you is not just communication. Your voice is your being. How you walk, how you sit, how you drink your coffee in the morning. It's how you dress, the fragrance you choose to smell, how you laugh. It's in everything. What you listen to, all right, what you eat, what you share, what you create. Your voice is everything. Then it opens your third eye of discernment, visions, being able to see that love, that energy that's coming up from the root to open this, to come here, to go here. Oh man, please. And so it's a part of it. Some of us, real talk, who have blocks will get crystals. And I do have a heart chakra, a throat chakra, crown chakra to meditate with, to open those energy centers. So the cosmic energy of the Most High can flow through you freely. We are made like this. You got to take my word for it. Look it up. You're an energy, you're an organic energy center. And so that is deeply, deeply important. And I wanted you to know that your heart chakra is key to having that energy travel up to your crown chakra to activate it. I think I did a chapter on the pineal gland. I think I did. And so now we get to that point where you are functioning as a true seeker with a understanding that your life has a continuous journey of expanding and growing within the Most High. And on that level, the seeker knows my movement is the visual expression of an inward aligned consciousness. I remember who I am. And because I remember, my steps remember where to go. It's just a natural flow in life. When I was getting back aligned, is when I came up with the concept, yo, dude, you African. You are that brother that has the consciousness, has the strength to take over a slave ship and row us back to Africa. And understanding that if I'm rowing the ship back, it's not the physical ship. It is the psychological, emotional, mental, and spiritual ship of the consciousness to get you back to who the Creator called you to be. The best self theology, the power of the divine self. That's what this is. When you go through these processes, start from chapter 1, get it all in you. And when you go through all of it, by the time you there will be a point in the place in your journey where you are a pure seeker. And you know that you are the direct expression of an inward aligned consciousness. And it is your job in this journey, it is your job to freely pour out to others the way the Creator has poured into you. We all are in that process of doing that. This is what Garvey said. We have to make man. Let us make man. Because in that space, we heal our communities across the diaspora, not just in the neighborhood in which you live in. And allow your imagination, because of technology, I had to do it. Allow your imagination to go as far as it can. Even and I would love to everybody to come on in. Come on in, join, and let's make this movement for real. 6 million people under one umbrella. 6 million. You give me 6 million people who have walked this journey. I don't need 6 million. Give me 1 million. And we will relive the experience of Africa for the Africans across the globe. Give me 1 million. We can give 1 million followers to the BS, to the buffoonery, and we have our children living for it. Well, we're actually raising up a nation that won't live for the buffoonery. World of Akibaland is the youth program that embodies everything that I'm speaking on. Najuma says, an idea of a topic for your next Wisdom Week forgiveness, uh, internally and externally, because when you don't forgive correctly, it causes blocks in the heart, which then blocks other chakras, which blocks us from true alignment. And this is true. Forgiveness is the deepest. We have to understand that an enemy has done this to us. And inside the Ubuntu generation, we talk about that. And it's in the that lesson where the coming of the Ubuntu generation for the adults, that's in there. In this experience, it wasn't necessarily in there, but yes, that's in there, where you have to identify and forgive yourself. Forgiveness is not for the other person, forgiveness is for you. But I sit down and say the forgiveness is for both. Because we know what happens when a man, I've seen people commit suicide behind not being able to find a state of forgiveness from the person that they felt that they wronged. Forgiveness is for both parties. Both parties. Now, imagine all of this information being turned into a segment where kids can understand it. I break it down to the simplest form. Let me see if I still do have a version of one of theirs. This is Ubuntu Generation Lesson 18, Healing from the Inside. And we walk through the process of if somebody messes with your emotions, you see it in the corner, sad, it's okay to have emotions. It's not okay to stay there. It's not okay to stay there. And so we allow them and teach them the processes to control your emotions, process it, understand who you are in that space. Now grow. We teach the kids that in the aspect of development, your parents have to be deconstructed because we learned everything incorrectly. So most of the time I tell them I'm not trying to get you to understand or do what your mama wants you to do or your daddy wants you to do. I don't even want you to do what I tell you to do. I'm trying to get you to have and continue have a authentic experience of the Most High within inside yourself and see what the Most High is guiding you to accomplish. That's a different child. That's a different generation. That's when you know that they're becoming the most powerful beings. And then you get them to work together. What? Our Kwanzaa experience was amazing last year. And so we always put kids in different scenarios to produce things, to show them their inner greatness. We are guiding them to their awareness versus having to deconstruct their reality, because you don't for a child. Child thinks that I grew up like I can conquer the world, do anything. Well, let's develop that so that you become aware of divine alignment. Think about it. A child who has his own relationship with the Most High. You know the song, God Bless a Child Who Has His Own? And I asked him what would make a child blessed. And I understood it in my silence. God bless a child who has his own relationship with the Most High. All needs are met. So if you tonight have heard anything that agrees with your spirit, join the mission. Worldofakibland.org is the location. You can go to the African Speaks Facebook page, reach out to me, find me on YouTube, the African Speaks, reach out. I'm not hard to contact. Join the mission. If you're in Atlanta, Houston, Detroit, I tell you where to go. Join the conversation. I always love it when my people on the side are shouting out and we're having this dialogue. One of these days we're gonna create something where we have an open community discussion. I just need some conscious people, and we all don't have to think the same, but we all have to believe that there is something better that we could do to change the world around us, and also bring a child. Let us prepare the next generation for the journey of the liberation of our people and change the trajectory of humanity. And so, those who are connected next week, the conversation is going to be about the I. I don't know where that came from. It's spelled wrong. The I is plural. Let me cut back. Where's that correction? There we go. Let me see if I can drop it right. Nope. The I is plural. The evolution of the ego. That's going to be, woo. The I is plural. The evolution of the ego. Now, most people will sit down and talk to you, but in this spiritual journey, you got to mortify the ego. And I had the children truly are our future. Absolutely. And we got to prepare them for it. We don't prepare them. We're prepared. We don't want to prepare our children just to be good slaves. We want them to shake the rafters. We want them to move mountains. We want them to walk on water. We want them to change water into wine. Heal the psychological sickness of their people. When I was born, my mama said, my grandmama looked at my mama and said, Mildred, that boy gonna be a preacher. It was a spirit that was on me. And I fought it until I couldn't fight it no more. Look at where I'm at. One love. The children are our future. And we have to pour into them. And a part of that is making sure that you have something in you to give. I tell them, they got mad, somebody said, you said that for real? I told the elders in my community, I'm like, look, if you were elder, I understand what you did in the 60s and 70s, 80s and 90s. But now in 2000, you ready to retire, you should have a young adult under your wing, pouring everything that you got into them so that who you are as a library of wisdom continues in the lifetime after you transition. That's exactly what should be done. And that's what I'm working on. So you want to see what we're doing? Worldofakibland.org or WOAATL.org. I'll make sure next week I'll have something so that you can see where you can easily get to that. But tomorrow, not next week, tomorrow, we're talking about the ego. The elevation of the ego. My I is plural. Most people will tell you that you have to mortify it. I had a conversation with one of my mentors, and before he transitioned, and he had like a hammer and a nail, and he was hitting it. And I was like, no, you got to mortify the ego. And he said that was what they told you. The ego was necessary to evolve into something greater than what they never told us it's supposed to be used for. What? I'm going to get you there tomorrow night. My I is plural. With that being said, I hope y'all enjoyed this up until now, this wisdom week. We got 2 more days to go. I'm hitting y'all and understand I was told to test my level of surrender by saying, see if you can do this every day. How much energy you can have, how much energy you can give. Children come into the world already knowing their purpose. Exactly. Exactly. We just need to encourage and guide them. That's it. That's it. And to do that, you will have a generation of awakened beings. What they're getting now, thank you, sister, for putting it in there, worldofakibland.org. Click on it. If you see it in the chat, y'all can see where the youth program is. Come and join, support, and bring a child. Bring your nieces, your nephews, your little cousins, aunties, everybody. And let's change the world. This week is Wisdom Week to honor Marcus Mosiah Garvey. We are definitely surrendering ourselves to the call when he said, let us make man. With that being said, see you tomorrow night at 7. Ashe.